Welcome everyone. I'm Chris Atwell, Cabinet Member for Communities and Central Services. This meeting is being webcast to allow the public to attend remotely if they so wish. Please be advised that the public seating area is not in view of the camera used to webcast this meeting. If the continuous fire alarm sounds, please evacuate the room and public gallery by the stairwells. Do not attempt to use the lifts. Please assemble at Queen Victoria's statue in Guildhall Square. In order to comply with the Guildhall Trust's fire marshal regulations, anyone who signed in at the Guildhall reception desk should sign out when leaving the building at the end of today's meeting. May I draw everyone's attention to the fact the meeting will be live streamed and everyone speaking will be on camera. Members of the press and public will also be permitted to record the meeting on the understanding that it neither disrupts the meeting nor records those stating explicitly they do not wish to be recorded. Please can everyone use the microphones and remember to switch them off when they have finished. Let's do some introductions. Shall we start with members?
Councillor Lee Mason, Cosham Ward.
Thank you, Lee.
Spokesman for what was known as Resources.
Thank you. And officers.
Sue Page from Finance.
Claire Looney, Partnership and Commissioning Manager.
Thank you, Sue. Claire.
Rhiannon Williams from the Events Team and Culture.
Thank you, Rhiannon.
James Harris, Senior Local Democracy Officer.
And thank you, James. Apologies for absence. Councillor George Madwick is doing some other things, and Councillor Shah is running late, I think, and will join us hopefully soon. Lee, any declarations of interest? No. Thank you very much. Deputations. We have a deputation this morning from Marie Costa on item 6, the proposed sister link with Cape Town. Welcome, Marie. Nice to see you. You have 6 minutes for your deputation. And if you could use the microphone, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Let's check. Are you doing the minutes afterwards, or?
That's a pretty good question. Minutes is afterwards. All right.
Thank you for allowing me to speak on this topic. UK has had hundreds of years of history with Africa. As you probably remember, remains have been found on the Mary Rose and the Victory, supposedly from people from African origin. Portsmouth has had many twinning sisterhood and friendship relationships with many cities, but none in Africa. If I can highlight some of the things I want to concentrate on, which is maritime connection with Africa. The Royal Navy, the ships, have been to South Africa on many occasions, and especially Cape Town, where there is a huge naval yard there, where the naval ships from Portsmouth, or from England, from UK, have docked and replenished their supplies and had some friendship connections with them. The SS Mendi, which is was a troop ship carrying native labour ships, troops in 1917, sank off the Isle of Wight on February 21st with over 600 soldiers drowning in the cold sea. They were going to, or being transported to Europe to be involved in the World War I in support of Britain. They all perished in the sea. Headstones have been erected on the Milton Cemetery, supported by Lord Mayor of those days, Councillor Mason, who's sitting here with me, who persuaded me that we ought to remember this every year. And we now have 9 headstones there, and we have commemorated it every year, which I am very pleased with. The numbers attending it have grown, and the ambassador from South Africa has been to all of it. Trade with South Africa. I don't think there are many people in Portsmouth who has not had food or wine made in South Africa. It is a prosperous town, Cape Town, and it has a world-class university, which would bode well with our own university in the exchange of technological and educational activities. Being a trading port, and we're also a trading port here, it would be good to have that relationship where we can exchange business, cultural links via everything that we already do. The cruise ships are growing in number. South Africa has a very well designed and popular port for cruise ship travelers to dock. So it would be nice to encourage ships docking there to come to Portsmouth as well, so that we have that exchange links. Our Gone Wharf waterfront is a replica of that of Victoria and Albert waterfront in South Africa, in Cape Town. I've been there, and I know it looks like it exactly. So it would be nice to have that relationship, that look, that will help us all trade happily and exchange cultural activities and friendship with that. So in view that we have now left Europe, European trading market, it would be nice to continue to grow that trading relationship with Cape Town or South Africa. I think that's all I have to say. Have I used up my 6 minutes?
Well, we haven't heard the buzzer yet, so you can keep going if you want. But
I know the leader of the council had said that if this is accepted, it won't cost anything because you can liaise with them via Zoom. Well, and you don't have to send the Lord Mayor there. Yes, that's good, but you can send the Lady Mayoress there.
and the cabinet member for communities and central services.
Oh yes,
I think,
of course.
And the previous Lord Mayor.
Of course.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, thank you very much. And I hope that you will agree that a relationship with Cape Town will be a very profitable one for all of us in Portsmouth, and we can grow that relationship in future.
Thank you, Marie.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're free to leave if you so wish.
Okay.
You're free to stay as well if you want to.
I think I'll go there.
Okay, thank you. Marie, if I could just ask you to, that's it. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, on to item 3 on the agenda, the record of previous decision meeting on the 21st of September. Pages 5 and 6 in the pack. Lee, okay?
Just under item 11, whilst it does say the Director of Corporate Services agreed to forward the costings, they never were forwarded, which was my just sort of point, and that was the issue I had, and they still haven't been forwarded. So it was to have the minutes corrected to say they were agreed to be forwarded and not forwarded.
Okay. We will amend the minute to reflect that.
I would have expected really that if an opposition spokesman or any councillor had requested information, it would actually be forthcoming, more so if it was agreed to be sent and never sent.
Okay. We'll amend the minute. Unfortunately, Natasha's not here this morning to be able to answer as to why that might not have reached you. But yeah, we'll amend the minute. Thank you. Everything else okay? Yeah? Good. Okay. David, we'll give you a few minutes to settle in. Okay, well, we'll move on. We'll skip the next item, number 4, and we'll come back to it. So we'll go to number 5 on the agenda, which is the Queen's Platinum Jubilee events. Rhiannon Williams is here to present. Rhiannon, do you have anything to say by way of introduction or to add to the report?
So we're here just to note the successful delivery of the Platinum Jubilee that happened earlier this year, and then just to highlight all the projects that had such a huge success with the communities that were across it. And then it's here as well just to apply the delivery for the programme for future learning, especially after the sad news of the Queen passing away, and we're looking at the preparation in the forthcoming significant national celebrations, such as the coronation events in 2023, and what learnings we can take from the Platinum Jubilee.
And thank you for the report. Lee, any questions or comments on the report for Rhiannon? It's the sole opposition spokesperson here.
Not especially, no. I think residents did enjoy the event. I think it was one of the other opposition spokesmen. He was very keen to have a say, but since he's not turned up. I think one of the things I did hear from residents is they did want to hear more centralised stuff. So where it talks about the surprise that 2,000 people turned up to the beacon lighting, I think there was a genuine desire from the community to be able to come together. So hopefully with the coronation, we do bear that in mind and go back to our successful events before, such as D-Day, when we have had big events on the common, trying to get... People do want to come together in these times, so...
Okay, absolutely. And in terms of the coronation, we're still waiting for a steer about the sort of the tone and what the expectations might be around celebrations. But you're right, in terms of the Jubilee weekend, the theme was people coming together in the spirit of fun and friendship. And I think we did that very well here in Portsmouth. There were, how many street parties?
So alongside for the Jubilee, we did do 2 national events where we did, in part of those 2 national events, one which was the beacon lighting and the other one the big lunch, that were our way of being able to bring the community together as a bigger event. And then on top of that, for the communities, we ended up being able to process about 110 street parties, which was really good. And as part of that, we've actually had close relationships with the Eden Project, and they're looking to see if Port City Council can be a case study, because we did so much help with us, COLAS, and all the other partners that were part of the Platinum Jubilee, just to be able to promote how much we've done with the communities.
Terrific. And so we should thank COLAS, who did a great job of making sure the signage got around, and thank you to you, to the events team, for your work. I don't think we were expecting quite as many applications for street parties, so obviously there was quite a lot of work involved in doing that. But I think I went to quite a few street parties over the weekend. I ate quite a lot of cake that weekend. Everybody had a great time. And as you say, an added significance given the death of Her late Majesty in September. Thank you. We look forward to the coronation and bringing people together for that. I have some words I have to say. So it's recommended that, what have I got to do? I've got to note the success of the delivery of the Queen's Platinum Jubilee programme and the range of projects which took place across the city with communities to mark this significant occasion, and request that the learning from the delivery of this programme be applied into future work in preparation for forthcoming significant national celebrations, such as the anticipated coronation events in 2023. Thank you very much. We'll move on. We'll go to number 6. We'll come back to them so you can get organised. So next item, number 6, proposed sister city link with Cape Town. Claire Looney, you're presenting. Anything you wish to add or introduce?
That's right. Well, thank you very much. As we've heard from the deputation, we believe it's an appropriate time to consider the spectrum of our existing twin and sister city links, and to consider having a relationship with an African country, which to date the city has never had. I'm sure members here will recognise and understand the benefits that twin and sister city relationships can bring, and enhancing that understanding of other people's cultures, other people's economies, and looking to benefit the city in all sorts of different ways. As a city with a very diverse population, and in recent years we've diversified the types of relationships we've had with other cities. We now have relationships obviously with China and with Bangladesh. a relationship with an African country would help with that balance in terms of representation, the diversification of the city as well. So obviously we would like to recommend an approach be made to Cape Town. We are aware that they do not have a relationship with a UK city in any shape or form, and we don't know obviously if they will be interested in this, but obviously according to our formal process we need to ask for permission to do that approach in the first instance, which is what this paper seeks to do. So I'd be very happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Any questions?
Comments as much as questions, but I think this is excellent. It was something that I had been working towards when I was in your seat a few years back. As has been said, it is a new opportunity for us to have a link with African cities, something that many of our twin cities have already had for a long time, so we are behind the trend there. Added to, as already mentioned, the SS Mendy, which was a very key function, and I'm very grateful. She's gone. Very grateful for the great help that Marie Costa did in helping organise the events, and we did hold the national centenary event in Portsmouth in our year. We did have, well, Claire will remember the many difficulties we had at the very late stages and the organisation, but we did get there and it was a big success, and we did have a large number of visitors, expats of South Africa and people who actually came from South Africa, and we had interaction between the two navies with us going out on one of the South African warships with David Fuller at the time, as he was Lord Mayor's cabinet member, and I think it had been a great success and built on that. And we have to bear in mind that of those more than 800 people who lost their lives, they were all freemen. They weren't press ganged, they weren't forced into it, they weren't conscripted, they volunteered for King and Empire. So we do have a debt of gratitude, and since we have the largest of the 14 of them who actually received burials, we have 9 of them in Portsmouth. So, and the service each year has become more permanent. But more later than that, we do have the links where a lot of families in the 50s, 60s would be sent over to Cape Town from Portsmouth who had worked in the dockyard. They'd go and spend 6 months out there or longer as a, I'm trying to think of the correct terminology for it, but they were sent basically as part of their jobs and they had to do a service out there. And I spoke to several of the older people in my ward who have fond memories of being out in Cape Town and enjoying the life out there, whilst their husband was working in the dockyard and being sent abroad, and then coming back and their children suddenly discovering dreary wet weather for the first time. So I think we do have a strong link there, both in the community and, as we mentioned, the Gun Wharf. I would like to suggest a couple of changes. Well, a change. Can we add in the leader and the Lord Mayor, add in the Lady Mayoress, because I think we have a golden opportunity at the moment that we have a Lady Mayoress that has been aware of it in her previous roles. And I think we also need to include the High Commissioner in London. I know it's changed since the first one we had, but the first High Commissioner, when I spoke to her, was very keen on the idea that we should have a link and was very keen that Cape Town thing. So I think we could have intercedents from the High Commissioner if we ask them. Following on to that, I think there's been an oversight, because if you turn to page 33, we have, it's not come up with the report for the integrated impact assessment. Going to the online one, I think it's been a little bit cut and pasted, because it's got references in, I'll find it again, A4 to impacts of the leisure card, etc., and for A5, I think that needs to be changed to yes, it will have a positive effect on equality and diversity. So I think we just need to go through and clean up the equality impact assessment.
Thank you, Lee.
Have you got the... Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. I think I can see what's happened, because we have some trouble with the form sometimes and it doesn't show. So sometimes if you go into an old form, as Councillor Mason's indicated, it hides what was previously written and you can't see it. So we'll get that sorted out. Thank you.
In terms of the wording, so we're content to include the Lady Mayoress in the wording, and we'll contact the High Commissioner?
We've already got good contacts with the High Commissioner anyway, so we'll just reiterate that. And I think we would, if the paper is agreed today, then what we do is like to share the paper with her, make sure that they've got those details, and ideally get backing from the High Commissioner as well to the approach.
Thank you.
And finally, I'd like to thank you for bringing this one to us so we can actually discuss it, unlike some of the other recent twinnings, but very pleased to be involved in it, and hopefully we are kept involved as opposition spokesmen, because I think this is something that does have cross-party support and needs to move forward with cross-party support, and it's a great opportunity for our city.
Well, we enjoy working cross-party, don't we? And thank you for all of your work on twinning and sister arrangements in the past. They're important, aren't they, our relationships with people in different parts of the world. Okay, so, well, I hope that we will be the first city that Cape Town chooses to have a sister or a twin relationship with, for all the reasons that Marie Costa pointed out and that are contained within the report. So, as Cabinet Member, I hereby recommend that the Leader of the Council, the Lord Mayor and Lady Mayoress, write a joint letter to the Mayor of Cape Town, South Africa, with a request that Portsmouth be able to enter into a sister city relationship with Cape Town in South Africa. Thank you. I'm going to go to Sue. No, this way. I'm going to go. Well, I'm never keen to end on a finance report, I have to say. It's just, so actually, you give me an opportunity to redo the kind of the order. So, Sue, over to you for the monitoring for Q2.
Thank you. So this is the forecast of your portfolio as at Q2. You'll see at the beginning we're talking about the net overspend on this portfolio, which substantial part of that is to do with energy, which is affecting all council services. After taking that into account and any other legacy COVID costs, you have got a net overspend of 380,000, the details of which are set out in the report from 4.3 to 4.8. You have a portfolio reserve which will cover the cost of this overspend in this year and leaves a small uncommitted balance of 125,300, which should be retained to guard against future financial risks that may arise during the year. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them. Thank you.
Lee, any questions or comments?
No, thank you. I think you've been very good at answering my questions in the past.
Thank you. Thank you, Sue. Thank you for your work on keeping on how we're doing. We'll see how it goes. And you'll be back for Q3. Thank you. Okay, we'll go back to David. Well, this is on and off. Welcome, Shah.
Since Councillor Shah missed the bit that he'd actually wanted to speak about, I assume, from the...
Well, we'll check it. So, welcome, Shah. Nice to see you. Obviously, we've started. Any declarations of interest before? Well, if you could use, the microphone, just to make sure everybody can hear you.
I don't think I...
No?
No.
Okay. So we've done the items on the Jubilee and the finance items and the Cape Town piece. Are any of those items that you'd like to comment on?
No, I don't think.
No? Okay. All right. Good. Okay. So we're all up to speed. So we'll move to the final item. David Evans is here. So would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm David Evans, and I'm the Facility Manager for Culture, Leisure and Regulatory Services.
It's a mouthful, isn't it? David, you also, you're recovering from an operation as well.
I had an operation on my thumb, and I must apologise for being late, Councillor, but I did research the buses, and they said I'd get to Edinburgh Road by 5 to 11. Oh. Instead, I had to get a taxi halfway.
We'll have to speak to Councillor Stagg about that. But thank you for being here. I know you probably should be at home recovering still.
Oh, it's fine.
Thank you for coming here. So you're here to talk about shop mobility?
Yes. The purpose of the report is to update you on the process of bringing shop mobility properly into Portsmouth City Council management. Now, the background for this is that in 2021, May 2021, Portsmouth had no option but to take over the shop mobility from Portsmouth Disability Forum, who ceased to trade. And they'd been looking after it for about 15 years, but I think it was the wrong time for them. £20,000 of public health was given to them as a grant annually, and this has now been transferred over to my responsibility, and it's had a cash limit budget, so that's amended on the cash limit on that. So the 20,000 is no longer a grant, which isn't in the report. Shop mobility is part of the Wessex region, and there are a number of shop mobility stores in Eastleigh, in Fareham, and in Southampton. They all have different offers. Our offer tends to be mobility scooters, electric mobility scooters, and we have a good fleet of mobility scooters, and they're going out on a regular basis. And in fact, since the lockdowns lifted, the business there has increased considerably. We also hire other equipment such as wheelchairs and walking sticks, as well as selling radar keys and other items of equipment that people with mobility issues have. This is not for long-term mobility issues because people tend to buy their own equipment. This is for short-term. Somebody who's had a fractured lower leg, for example, or somebody who just has difficulty in getting about. And it's a nice thing to have, and it's quite good, and you see them going up and down. They're all well maintained, they're all looked after, and in fact 9 of them are brand new. So we're quite happy and pleased with that. We employ 1 member of staff, and we've got 1 volunteer, excellent volunteer, Shelley. And 1 member of staff, Sean, who's been with Shop Mobility for about 10 years, and he's our Shop Mobility coordinator, and we want to bring into full council responsibility, so he has all the opportunities that everybody else does, and that's under TUPE, and that's starting to go ahead. The higher costs, we have an annual membership of £10 a year, and then a daily hire of £5 or a weekly hire of £32.50. We also work with the Historic Naval Base and the Maritime Club, because we provide them with scooters for their customers as well, because they don't have their own. So the recommendations then are to extend the opening days by 1 day, therefore operating Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays and Fridays, and to bring the one part-time employee in under Portsmouth City Council's employees' terms and conditions.
Thank you, David. Thank you. Any comments and questions for David on shop mobility?
Thank you very much. I think it's a good thing that we're slowly approaching back to the 5 days that was run by Portsmouth Disability Forum, bringing it back up to 4, which is a healthy step in the right direction. Pleased that it is continuing. It does provide an important service, as has been said, to those that are temporarily disabled, so not able to get around and don't really want to spend out on their own equipment. It also enables those families of people who are thinking of buying one to actually hire one out, try it, and decide without the heavy salesman techniques if there's to go to a shop to try one out. So I think in that respect it does provide a really useful service to a wider range of the community than what you might think. So I'm in support of it.
Thank you, Lee. Sure. Any questions or comments for David on the report?
No, actually, I don't have any comments or any question. I do support it, yes.
Thank you. Well, it's a good thing, isn't it, that we're enhancing the support we can give to people. And welcome to Sean, to the Portsmouth City Council family. I'm very pleased to recommend that the opening days for Shop Mobility Portsmouth be extended by 1 day, therefore operating on a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday and Friday, and the 1 part-time employee be brought under Portsmouth City Council's employee terms and conditions. And thank you, David, for making the effort to come in less than ideal circumstances. I think that concludes today's business. Thank you very much, everybody. See you at the next meeting. Thank you.